And hello, everybody, and welcome to Let's Chat. We've got another great show for you, beaming all the way from Melbourne. Even though we're locked down, we're still pretty happy and excited because we've got a very special guests on tonight, today. But before we get going, let's just introduce Simon. And Simon, tell us what you do.
How are you, Tony? Good to see you this Friday, my friend. Yeah, for those that don't know me, my name is Simon Bowden and I'm an international marketing business coach with 25 years experience, which makes me a master coach. My mission is always to help my clients identify their aspirations and vision, strengths and blind spots, help them make informed decisions and take action when needed to ultimately fast track them towards their personal goals. My coaching caters for executives and directors, to entrepreneurs, small business owners and beyond. Whatever your situation, I'll help you build on your strengths and get clear on how to create a profitable future. And as you know, Tony, I love what I do and I'm passionate about my clients succeeding. So over to you, my friend.
Thank you, Simon. And I know about that because actually Simon's doing some coaching work for me. And I've got something very exciting to come, but I'll announce that as the time gets a bit closer. But first, thank you, Simon, for that. But what I'd love to do next is to show you what our mission for tonight is. And our mission, should we dare accept it, is to educate and engage with our audience with lively discussions with experts to gain their experiences, tips, benefits of the business and well-being practices that they can offer. Now, I better tell everybody what I do.
Yes.
I help individuals and business owners via customized retreats, workshops, and consultations to maximize their feelings of vibrance, purpose, happiness, health, and success. So that's what I do. Now, I'd like to introduce you to our special guest today. We've got Toni Lontis, who's a radio expert. So I'm just going to put Toni on to say hello.
Thank you so much, Tony and Simon. Lovely to be here. Delighted to be on the other side of the microphone. Usually I'm the one doing the interview, and it's lovely to be interviewed by you today. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Toni. Permit me just to read out your bio, your distinguished bio. Toni has been an international radio and TV host, as well as the best-selling co-author, author, speaker, and visionary. Toni Lontis quietly entered the entrepreneurial world in 2019, post-publication of her memoir, Resilience. After 35 years in nursing, from clinical practice to running her own nurse consultancy company, Toni wanted to write a book. She wanted to talk about what it takes to heal from dysfunction and trauma in her own life to create a heart-centered impact to help heal others. With the publication of the book came the audiobook production, and Toni was introduced to the power of the spoken word. A chance conversation led to a meeting with an American media company, and Radio Toni was born. From these humble beginnings grew a love of interviewing businesses and people about life, business, and the universe. Her intuitive interview style has taken the world by storm. Toni has multiple live streaming TVs, radio shows, and series of co-hosted business shows on different platforms based in the US and broadcasting to the world. Please welcome to the stage broadcasting dynamo Toni Lontis.
Thank you so much,
that's your
Toni.
bio, and now I'm going to put ask Toni some questions now. So Toni, please be our star now. So
Thank
let's
you
just
so
go back
much.
a little bit. What prompted you to move from a 35-year nursing career to become an author? And then tell us about your challenges.
Oh, thank you, Toni. Thanks, Simon. It's a little bit of a story, so I'll have to backtrack just a little bit to begin with. So I was born with a congenital facial defect, which resulted in left-sided facial palsy, which I've had all my life, and that impacted me through bullying at school, low self-esteem, etc., etc. I did what most country girls do, and we had the choice of studying, teaching at uni, getting a bank job, or going nursing. So I got into uni, but was offered a position nursing to begin with. So off I went and did nursing. And I did that for a very long time, managed to go from clinical nursing up into statewide health management of networks, maternal and neonatal networks, surgical networks, anaesthetic networks at a high level. But in the background of that was dysfunction, depression and anxiety that was undiagnosed and untreated. And in my 40s, I had a complete breakdown. So I was at the time within high level corporate roles with Queensland Health, and I, for the first time in my life, had to deal with myself and start that self-discovery and healing journey. And that's in essence what led to the book. So the book is about that journey and the fact that the breakdown was the biggest wake-up call, followed by a second breakdown, which was a further wake-up call. And it's about being in traditional business, writing a book, and then what happens on the other side. And it's about that journey, which both of you would know and understand with all your years of experience, that being an entrepreneur and in business, it's about the journey. It's about the person you become as you challenge yourself to do the things that you need to do to grow a business. And in essence, that's what I've tried to do. And that prompted the change from 35 years in nursing to writing the book and just going, okay, universe, what's next?
How, just quick one, Toni, is when were the two breakdowns and the time span between the second breakdown?
So just a little bit of background. I was in my 40s, so it was in 2007. And at the time, I was starting to struggle with some really serious mental health issues. And even though I'd been surrounded by the healthcare professionals all of my life, I was reluctant to be tagged with a mental health diagnosis. So I determinedly just kept on going. I didn't realize how dysfunctional I was until I started to heal. So first breakdown, 2007. And at that time of the breakdown, my daughter disclosed a history of sexual abuse to the man that I was going to marry within a very short time frame. So all of that happened at once. And I'd started to work with a therapist at that time. And then the focus became not me, but my daughter and keeping her safe and whole in the whole judicial system. The second breakdown came 5 years later, and that's the one that really triggered the learning and the real deep soul searching and the work that's required for me to be in front of you here today.
Can you just elaborate a little bit about work that you actually did. How did you pull yourself virtually at the lowest ebb to raise yourself?
Yeah.
Explain to the audience,
Thanks,
because I
Tony.
think everyone's very curious about that.
So at the worst point of the time, I was crying pretty much 24/7 in a deep, dark, suicidal space. And I was blessed to be surrounded by a really proactive and helpful GP who essentially sat me down and said, your brain's decided that enough is enough. And if you don't start to heal and deal with the pain and trauma that you've suffered, then you won't make it to your 50. So when someone puts that in front of you, you go, okay, righto. And so then we started the process of finding therapists, finding counselors, talking to psychiatrists, and some medication. And in those darkest hours, one thing that helped me through was a beautiful older woman sat me down and said, Toni, at this point in your life, when you feel like nothing's ever going to be okay again, all you have to do is breathe. Breathe in and breathe out. And so for 3 months, many, many, many days, that's what I focused on. When things were really bad, those words kept me going. So I would be in a darkened lounge room and I would go, this is really bad. I'm in so much pain. Life is so bad. But all I have to do is breathe in and breathe out, because I didn't, suicidal ideology is about stopping the pain. You want to stop the pain of life so bad that the only solution in your mind is to leave this earth. But the thing that kept me here was the belief that I needed to be here for my children, and the fundamental belief that I was put on this planet to be the mother to my daughter who needed so much of my time and effort. And that's what kept me going. So that was the first part of that time was spent just supporting her and starting on my own therapy. It wasn't until I got to the second breakdown where I started to do that harder level of healing, subconscious healing, mindset work, and belief in myself, self-esteem work. There was none of that was in existence in my life.
Yeah. So with the publication of your book, Toni, how did that lead to your online broadcasting?
Oh, that's a really lovely story. So you need to remember that between 2007 and 2012, there was I'd started to write notes and journal quite a bit. And then another 10 years went by, and I'd actually started to just tell a few people about what had transpired in my life. And the resounding response was, you have to write about this. And I'm like, I think it's too, no one would read that. No one would be interested. But I was encouraged by my psychologist at the time to give it a go and to write. And so I stopped consulting in 2018, sat down in the July, wrote the book, finished it in the November, and it was published the following January 2019. And I'd done enough work then to go, okay, universe, 2019 is going to be my year of saying yes. No matter how petrified I am, I'm going to say yes to whatever's presented to me. And at that time, you have to remember that I was still very introvert. I'm an introvert anyway, but I was very introverted to the point where I had anxiety about picking up a phone and talking to someone I didn't know, or meeting people, or being around people that I didn't know very well. So when I published the book, I wanted to produce the audio version, and I found a wonderful Brisbane company to do that. And the producer I wanted to get an actress to voice my story, and the producer kept saying to me, no, you need to do this yourself. It will be better coming from you. And I'm like, I can't do that. And she kept persisting and saying, I will help you. You're going to be okay. We'll get through this together. And that's exactly the experience that it was. It was, there's something about writing, and there's something completely different about speaking aloud your truth and your life story. At the end of that process, she sat me down and said, Toni, there's something really special about your voice. There's something about your energy. I really think you should try radio or podcasting. And I was like, no, that's not going to happen. No, this is enough. The universe, of course, had other plans, and I started a chance conversation on wonderful LinkedIn and with a media company in the US. He got me on a call and said, you know, you've got a powerful story. Do you think you'd like to give this a go? And he said, I can help you. Why not live stream versus do a podcast? Because if you live stream, you get the podcast as well. So 2 hits with one show. And I'm like, okay, yeah, just doing it once would be great. So Radio Toni was born, and it wasn't a very conscious naming. It was just, he said, what are you going to call the show? And I'm like, I no idea, Radio Toni. And that's how it was born. So I started doing live stream audio out of Florida in the US. And for the first 6 months of Radio Toni, I was sick every single time that I got in front of that microphone. But I knew in the back of my subconscious that I needed to do it. So no matter how scared I was, I just kept doing it. And then it's just evolved from there. So I got used to being behind the microphone. No one could see me, but they could hear my voice. And that was fun. And then I started interviewing people and just really loved it. And consistently people said, you create a beautiful, safe space for me to tell my story. And then I realized that I really did love this, and that I needed to derive an income since I was no longer consulting. And that evolved into the first lot of the first packages I did was host your own radio show. And then I discovered that there were other platforms that you could use to do audio, video, and still stream to the world simultaneously. And I moved to a platform out of California called BBS Radio TV. And from there, again, that whole idea, this needs to derive an income so I can reach my bigger vision, which is to give voice to the unheard, for people who have stories to tell the world, and for people to be inspired, empowered, educated, and helped by those stories. And that then evolved into the next reiteration of the online broadcaster and the online broadcasting programs, where we do co-hosted series of shows in combination with a whole range of services, including social media, digital marketing, email broadcasting, blogs, newsletters, website mentions, and the shows go live. They're converted to a podcast. They're uploaded to Binge Networks USA, Hero Go TV USA, and the Toni TV channel app on all Roku, LG, Samsung, and smart TVs worldwide. And so that's where I am currently. And I have some really big news that I'll be announcing very shortly, as soon as I can, that will mean a bigger reach and a bigger audience and a unique platform all on its own.
Toni, I'm
so
a bit
bit of
curious.
A journey and a story.
Toni, I'm a bit curious. Tell us a little bit about what is the real difference between online broadcasting and podcasting?
So podcasts are generally thought to be pre-recorded. In the true definition of the word, podcasts are pre-recorded, edited, and released at a predetermined date, whereas online broadcasting is generally live, unedited, and live to air.
Oh, okay.
So that's just a little bit of a difference.
We're online broadcasters, are we?
Absolutely. In my understanding, you're streaming live to multiple
That's right.
social media platforms simultaneously. You're an online broadcaster. And I actually feel really passionate about this determination because there is capacity for people to monetize their wisdom, knowledge, and learnings. And all too often, we don't recognize the value in shows like this, in shows like Let's Chat, where you offer the audience that are listening valuable education and learnings. And the other thing I'm passionate about, guys, is that there are people out there that need to hear their messages from Toni and Simon. They won't hear it from me because I'm not their person, but they will hear it from you. And that's an important thing to remember. There are people that will resonate only with you and who will only hear their messages from you, and vice versa. There are people out there that will only get their education, inspiration, empowerment, and help from something that I've broadcasted that they need to hear.
Yeah, I love that. I really do, and I appreciate you saying that too. And I think that's one of the reasons why Toni and I actually produce the Let's Chat show, is because there's so many people out there that we need to inspire to, they might be sitting on the couch and, feeling down, feeling inadequate, suffering from anxiety, all of those types of things, that all they need to do is listen to one of our stories. And if we inspire one person to make a change, I feel like we've done our job. So I love
Definitely. Definitely. I don't believe in competition. I believe absolutely that there is a abundance of wealth and knowledge available to people. And it's just about the right people hearing the right message from the right person. And for you guys, Toni and Simon, that's uniquely important. Yeah?
No, I love it. Love it. So, Toni, what's the bigger vision and what are you working towards? I'm really interested.
Okay, so I have a couple of missions that are important to me, and the first one is just around creating beauty within myself and others. So I want to make it very clear that it starts with you, and only you have the capacity to change yourself, change your mindset, and create and live the life that you want. So it's about that bigger vision. I want to create a legacy for my children and my grandchildren. And then the other side of that is a business mission, which is a bigger mission. And I want to provide platforms for people who are brave enough and courageous enough to overcome their individual challenges, to give them a voice to tell their stories and create their messages and live their lives in their best way possible. And for some people, those visions are very simple. They just want to provide a service to children that are hungry in Africa. For some people, that's a massive vision and a massive impact. And I've always had coaches, and one of my coaches has challenged me to stand in front of the mirror and go, I'm a woman of strength and beauty, and I have global impact. And it's the global impact that is my bigger vision. And that global impact is driven by people's individual stories and business stories.
And Toni, what do you love about life right now?
Oh God, so this comes back, guys, this comes back to the mindset and the subconscious work that I've done. So you have someone who in 2019 was too scared to talk to someone they didn't know, to the woman you see on the screen today, who despite being really imperfect, middle-aged gal, I'm still getting out there in front of people and spreading the messages of my learnings and what life has to offer, and giving people that opportunity to dream and dream big. If you look at me and go, oh my God, how has she done that? well, this is how I did it. This is what I had to change. This is what I had to work on to get to this point in time. And that's where business comes in, because business will teach you more than anything I've ever known. If you want to become that successful entrepreneur, you need to change. You need to take action, and you need to educate yourself. And so if I can do that in my mid-50s, as imperfect as I am, then anyone can do it, guys. Anyone can do it.
Can you share with us perhaps an example of how you've been able to change someone else's life?
Oh, that's a wonderful question. Okay, so I guess my favorite story this year is probably from one of my clients who did a series of co-hosted shows. And she works in the energy field and has a whole business around crystals and energy healing, Reiki. Her husband's a shaman. And we did this series of shows, and I worked with them one-on-one and taught them the things that I'd learned about social media, digital marketing, appearing on camera, audio and the importance of audio, and those sorts of things. We did the series of shows, which were received really well. And then about 6 weeks after that, she messaged me to say, I've got my own network show, and we're calling it Chakra Life or Crystal Energy Healing, something along those lines. But she was just delighted. And she said, we never would have done this had we not worked with you. And it comes back to that. I want to create a space where individuals and individual businesses shine, because within each person and within each business, there's unique qualities that resonate with different people in different places across the planet. And it's simply about creating that safe space so they can shine. And she felt that being on the show and not doing it by herself, because it's done for you and done with you. And my job is to make that person shine, to make their business shine, and to show people, if they're after crystals or they're looking for some healing energy of some description, this is where you need to go. And so her business has grown exponentially since that time. That was only in January. So that's one of my favorite stories this year. There's lots of other little things where people will go, oh, I was on your show and such contacted me and asked me for an interview, or such got me in their magazine, or this has led to that, or I did one interview with you, and people are contacting me from the US and Germany. And so those are the things that are special to me. I'm invested in their results. My greatest high is to see them succeed and do well. Like, there's nothing like that in the world, to see people shine and go bigger and go better.
There's certainly there's a lot to learn from that too, I think, Toni. I mean, for me, when I deal with my clients, I mean, you know, when one of my clients has a big win, it's just it's just such a great feeling, let's say.
Isn't it? It's the best feeling, and it's nothing.
Yeah, right.
It's to push them through that.
It's nothing to do with you. Yes. Yes.
And I love that. I think,
and that's the other thing, because I've had to do that. Because I've had to do that myself, I know how hard that is. I know about the days when you wake up and go, oh my God, I just can't get on the camera today, or oh my God, I just can't do it today. But you do it anyway, and that just does something special for your psyche.
Yes, it certainly does.
So, go, Toni.
No, you go.
I was just going to say quickly, what's next for Toni?
Okay, so I am looking at launching my own network with individual channels sitting under that network. So that's really exciting me at the moment, and I'm not being deliberately vague. There's a lot to do in the background before the network launches, but I want to. That's the bigger vision, is to have that network of individual channel hosts and individual people doing what they love and being excited about what they love, and inspiring people and empowering people, educating people, helping people. That's my bigger vision. And there's lots and lots and lots of people out there who need to hear from the everyday people of the world. And that's what will be sitting behind the network. And I'm so excited about it. So excited. So it will be the Netflix version of Toni Lontis.
Beautiful. And Toni, I've just noticed that we're at the top of the hour, and I'm going to give you the opportunity. If there was one message that you'd like to get to the audience, what would it be?
That one message would be, get out of your own way. Because once you realize that it's not about you, it's about it's not about you, it's about what you give to the world. And that gift to the world is more important than anything else. But to do that, you have to get out of your own way. You have to stop looking in the mirror and going, I can't do this. I'm not perfect enough. I'm not anything. I can't do it. You have to stop doing that. Don't do that.
Thank you, Toni. The thing that I got out of it, the most important message that I got from today, is that your determination, whenever things were really at the lowest, it was your resilient determination that got you through. And I'd like to acknowledge you for doing that. But it's also your inspiration that you've inspired. I'm really inspired by what you've just said. And
thank you.
Because I think that, with all the obstacles you've had in front of you, you're able to overcome them. You went for 2 major sort of setbacks, and you're able to be that resilient and that determined to get through it, and you're able to do it. And it's your enthusiasm and your passion to help other people. So I'd like to acknowledge those. Simon, what would you like to say? What was your main take?
There's probably a couple of things that the first one was Toni mentioning about breathing. And I think it's a mindful approach to change. And I think that's really, really important. And the fact that she's been able to do that has obviously made a massive impact on her life. And I think, I commend you on that. And I think for you to share that with others is remarkable. And I think the second takeaway that I found was the fact that, and I teach this to my clients too, is even though you're scared, don't give up, keep going. And I think that in itself, is very, very powerful. So, so I really thank you for being on our show today. You're a remarkable lady. You really are. And
we love you, Toni.
It's been an absolute pleasure to get you,
guys.
And
thank you.
Yeah, lovely.
Simon, would you like to go on, Toni?
I was just going to say, I just want people to understand their unique greatness in each and every person on this planet. You have unique greatness, every one of you, every single one of you.
Yeah, I agree.
Beautiful. All right, Simon, do you want to take us away now?
Yes. No, I'll do that. Thanks, Toni. For those that are joining us next week, we have the fabulous, absolutely remarkable Nicole Yates joining us for our Let's Chat next Friday, the 22nd of October. And for those that don't know Nicole, she has an amazing story of determination, similar to Toni today. But I'll give you a very sneak peek and say that she has actually died 3 times.
Wow.
So I'm intrigued, and I'm sure you're very intrigued too, Toni, to hear that story. And I can tell you now that it's a let's chat that seriously is not to be missed. So so there we go. That's in store for us next week. But I would just like to say again, Toni, this is my gratitude to you that we have this lovely box of favourites. But unfortunately, we're in lockdown here in Melbourne, and I'm going to have to eat those on your behalf.
You're going to love it.
Again, Toni, I really appreciate what you've been able to share with us today, and I think for everybody sitting at home or sitting in their office, wherever they may be, I hope that there's been something that we've spoken about today that's inspired you, and that you want to be able to do something with your life. And I think the key message today was about change, and as we say, onwards and upwards. And every impact that you make is a positive step forward. And I really appreciate you sharing that with us today, Toni. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Toni.
Thanks, guys. Thank you so much.
Take care.
All the best. Thank you.